Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 1st of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has obviously responded to the tariff mania of Donald Trump. We're back towards the top of the old channel there at around the 90-60 level. Possible support at the floor of that rising trend channel, the red one there from May 90-40, but hopefully we won't go lower than that. If we do, obviously then there's a risk of 89.10 and the old June resistance, and hoping that we stay above 90.40 and then can head up to as high as the price channel top there from back in May, as high as basically 92.80 by the end of this month as a best case scenario target. Obviously at the moment looks like we might be heading the other way. Moving on to the DAX, which has been more affected by the tariffs. We've obviously got that resistance line there at 24,500, which we couldn't break. And after many weeks, almost like 2 months of being supported by the 50-day line, we've fallen back. The old March resistance there, 23,500, the most obvious support in the near term. And ideally, we stay above that, which was also the July support area. RSI now well below neutral 50 at 43, so that does suggest that 23,500 is the minimum on the downside as far as this market is concerned. End of day close back above the 50-day line, 23,000, well, just under 24,000, would be a sign that this is just an initial markdown and nothing to worry about. Moving on to the Dow, and here the 44 to 45,000 range, just about holding yesterday. We've got the old July floor there, 43,700, and I suppose that's likely to be tested if it's not already being done so on the futures markets. The 50-day line there, 43,400, the most obvious place for this market to go, especially given the way that the RSI has now fallen back below neutral 50 at 49. But with the 50 and 200-day lines both rising, this is not so far a dangerous-looking chart, although we have obviously failed at 45,000 on many occasions since the end of November. Moving on to the cryptos that we look at. The first one is Bitcoin, and here we've had the recent mini range, 115 to 120. That seems to be breaking down now. We'd already factored in that we would have to test the old May peak 112 and the 50-day line there at just below 112,000. So nothing to be too concerned about yet. We have a support line there from April, and that may be the right trajectory for this market in the sense that that red rising trend channel from April was too steep. RSI back below neutral 50 as well. So we are looking for that 112,000 area. At this stage, only an end of day close through 120, 121, really giving us another chance of heading up to the top of that channel, which already looks a bit steep. So probably more in the nature of that. And then also the floor of the channel rather lower, probably with that April uptrend line. Moving along to Ethereum, and here we had hopes that this market could get back above 4,000. At the moment, it looks like that's been slightly delayed. We have the top of the old channel there, 35.80. So that's the most obvious support for this market at this stage. And still have the possibility of heading up to the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from March as high as 4,400. But looks like it might be delayed by a few days. Next market rather is gold, and here we were struggling, and in fact sort of gone in the middle of the scenarios there, so not really bearish, not really bullish. Want to see a clear end of day close above the 50-day line, 33.42. Otherwise we still have the risk of a test of the June support there towards 32.20. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Empire Metals, which continues, or it's just restarted its recent bull run, finding support really where we had support at the beginning of July, so around 24 pence, and above that looking for a retest of the best levels of last month, around 33 pence by the end of this month. GCM is next. I was very excited about this chart previously, but looks as though the shares had to retest the old resistance there from back in March around the 5.3 pence level. Went a bit lower than that, but at least we're on the right side of 5 pence. looking for a decent move to the upside, hopefully towards the April 2024 resistance up towards the 10 pence area. Looking for that maybe by the end of next month if we can stay on the right side of 5 pence. On to Hamak, and here, or Hamak, here we've got a situation where we've got this rather wide rising trend channel. We may have hit the top for the near term, but at least while we're above the old July peak around 6.45 pence, we've got a chance of a new leg to the upside. Best case scenario here would be up to 11 pence. Otherwise, we may have already hit the top of the channel there. But even that channel, if we can stay above 6.4 pence, is heading for 10 or 11 pence. On to Harena, and here the shares bouncing back after yesterday's placing. I think there was a placing there of £1.2 million, and obviously the company enjoying the rare earths bull market at the moment. Above the 50-day line there at 1.25, we're looking for up to 0.1 pence, perhaps by the end of this month. On to Invinity, which had a couple of announcements today. Here we bounced off or gapped up above the rising 50-day line. The company managing an order and planning application news, and here looking for the top of that broadening triangle from back in July last year, as high as 32 pence, maybe by the end of next month, 33 pence, in fact, on that line. Mkango continues to re-rate, as one would expect. It's a very hot situation at the moment. We're looking for the shares to hit that line, or that target line. They're up to 45 pence, and looking for that while they're above, or at least on the right side of 35 pence, the floor of that rising trend channel. Nativo did what it should have done and yesterday, and rose spectacularly. The gap higher as well. We've held the top of the gap, and while we're above that gap top at 0.33, still looking for up to 0.8 by the end of next month. The weekly close above the 50-day line at 0.37 would help the cause no end. Next on the list is Powerhouse Energy, and here you can see that yesterday's move was quite a strong one, opening at the low, closing at the high, and the initial target here up to 0.65 pence, which we're very close to. Also managed to have a gap close signal, buy signal, with the top of the March gap there at 0.6 and above 0.6, looking for a fresh move up to 0.8, maybe by the end of next month or even sooner. The 50-day moving average also rising well near the lows, which tends to be a decent signal. A bit of stake building in Thruvision announced yesterday. Still looking for the top of the range, the recent range, post-March range, around 2.5 pence, while we're above recent resistance, around 1.4. Finishing off with Tasty, and here chart looking quite intriguing. We had an intriguing bit of news there with the confirmation of talks with ex-Fulham Shaw CEO David Page, who's obviously some kind of hero. Here you can see that we're on the right side of the 200-day line at 0.74, and while we're above that, looking for up to 1.6 and 1.7 pence by the end of this month. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.